in the recording. The chat room will remain open. Our student worker Hennessy will be managing it. Of course, Anne-Marie and I will also be taking a nice little look at it, but any questions you have, go ahead and post it. Hennessy will be in charge of that. And Ryan, I turn it over to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
It is my pleasure to be here today. Thank you all for carving time out of your day to hear me do my thing. So we're just going to take the next few minutes to talk a little bit about LinkedIn, and hopefully when you leave here today, you'll have 4 takeaways. The first takeaway is why you should be on LinkedIn. Second takeaway we're going to talk about the profile and rethinking about what the LinkedIn profile is all about. The third thing we're going to talk about is growing your network, because networking is super, super important today. It's always been important, but I don't think it's ever been more important than it is today. It's growing your network. And then the fourth thing we're going to talk about is content, because LinkedIn, after all, is a social media platform. It is not a resume repository, which is what it kind of used to be. So I do not judge you if you think it's a resume repository, but it's not. So with that, let's start with the why and a little bit about LinkedIn and go from there. LinkedIn has been around now for coming up on 20 years, and it is a social media platform with one goal in mind. And that goal is to try to help create economic opportunity for everybody, not just for people that have an advanced degree, not just for people who work in an office. It's designed, and our goal is to help everyone in the workforce, anybody who's 16 years or older. And hopefully when you leave here today, you will be more comfortable with using LinkedIn, because I do get it that it is a little bit intimidating at first. It is a little intimidating. And so what I want to try and do is make it less intimidating. And that way you will use it more often. So more about the why. We are at 760 million members worldwide. We're actually probably more like at 780 million members, because I've been using that statistic now for a month or two. And we're growing at a rate of 3 new members per second. So really growing really rapidly over time. We have over 15 million jobs posted on LinkedIn. We place more people into new jobs than any other platform out there. So more than Indeed and any other job platform out there. Now, I'm not saying don't use Indeed, or if you've got Handshake on campus, you need to use all of those platforms, but I'm saying you really should be on LinkedIn as well, because LinkedIn is a lifelong platform for you to be on and then also to contribute to over time. A couple of things that I like to tell everybody when I do these workshops is just kind of level set where LinkedIn is coming from, because I think most people think LinkedIn makes up most of our money from LinkedIn Premium. Oh, by the way, I will monitor the chat as well. So I have multiple screens up. So I'm going to ask a couple questions, and I hope you all can drop in your answers in the chat. So ask the first question. First question is, what percentage of jobs do you think today are found through a network? What percentage of jobs are found through networks? So drop it in the chat. Tell me, what do you think? I need to have some Jeopardy music on cue here. 85, 80%, 85, 75. Those are really close. The answer is 70%. 70% of jobs are found through a network, at least through LinkedIn. Through LinkedIn, 70% of the jobs that are on LinkedIn are found through your network, which is really, really important. It's important to note. Most people don't realize where LinkedIn makes our revenue. So most people think our revenue comes from LinkedIn Premium, which we do get some revenue from Premium, but that's a small percentage of our revenue. Only 3% of our 760 million members pay us Premium. Most of our revenue comes from this product we call our talent product, which is where we charge corporate recruiters. We charge recruiters to find you. Let me reiterate that. We charge recruiters to find you. Now, what percentage of Fortune 500 companies do you think pay LinkedIn to find you all? What percentage of Fortune 500 companies pay LinkedIn? Drop it in the chat. What do you think? Somebody's been cheating, I think. Vincent and Dexter were cheating because they hit 100% right away. And I think that is not fair, because when I ask these questions, I don't want people to answer them correctly. That is correct. Well done. 100%. What percentage of recruiters in general, percentage of recruiters in general do you think use LinkedIn?
100%.
It's not quite 100, it's 90% of recruiters. Vincent, you're close on that one, 92. 90% of recruiters are using LinkedIn. So the reason I'm telling you this is because these are like honest to goodness facts, right? I mean, this is real stuff. And if you are going into business, not business, but if you're going into corporate America and you're going to get a job and you want to get a job, LinkedIn is like the best place for you to go for your entire life to get that economic opportunity, to have opportunity come your way. So that's why you should be on LinkedIn, right? We're at this point right now where all these people are coming together and all these businesses are coming together to create opportunity. And if you're not on that, you're getting left behind. It's just making your life more difficult. So this is why you should be on there, and why I hope that after today, you'll feel more comfortable getting on LinkedIn. So with that, I'm going to jump into LinkedIn and talk about step 2, which is really thinking about your LinkedIn profile. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to share my screen. Oop, I got to be able to get my share screen. So if somebody can hook me up with screen sharing capability. I got a quick question from Vincent. Would you say certain sectors of professional benefits from LinkedIn more than other sectors? Truthfully, yes, right? If you are in construction, there is not as much opportunity for, let's say, a rancher as there is for a software engineer. But that being said, we are rapidly growing in that frontline workers and hourly wage category that people don't think of. So we're growing at a rate of 3 new members per second. 2 out of every 3 new members are frontline workers and hourly workers. 57% of our 15 million jobs are frontline workers and hourly workers. So truth be told, Vincent, our fastest growing demographic is exactly what you're talking about, is trying to make it where every single sector is just as relevant as the next. But are we there yet? No, but we're growing very rapidly. So great question. Okay, so let me share my desktop here with you. Okay, you all should be able to see my screen right now, right? You're able to see LinkedIn?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so let's start with a couple of profiles. So we're going to cover the profile, and I'm going to start with Bridget. So Bridget is a current student right now at Cal State Long Beach, and I wanted to share with you her profile so that you all can kind of understand where I'm coming from when I think of not thinking of this as a resume, but thinking of LinkedIn as a place to tell your story, because that is more compelling than just your work experience, right? Everybody has their work experiences, and your work experiences kind of speak for themselves. I've been in sales all my life. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what my skills are, but nobody really knows what kind of person I am. If you think about when you're going to go into an interview, what is the first question you normally often get asked? It's, tell me about yourself. That's the first question they ask, because they want to know who they're going to be working with. With LinkedIn, since it's not a resume, you have a chance to tell people about yourself. And when they land on your page, which 90% of recruiters are landing on your page, they're going to be able to see more than just your work experience. So I'm going to make my screen a little bit bigger so you can see it on your end. If we take a look at Bridget, you can see her profile picture. This does not have to be a professional headshot. We want to make LinkedIn inclusive. So I want you to think about the fact that you have a phone in your hand and you can just take a selfie and just crop out a headshot and put it right on LinkedIn. Quick and easy. Background photo. You have to have a background photo. I say that because if you think about how quickly you have, how much time you have to make a first impression, when a recruiter lands on your page or a hiring manager lands on your page, you want them to see a complete picture of you, and the image that they get, if you've got no background photo, it maybe tells them that you haven't really spent too much time on LinkedIn. And you don't want to do that, right? You want to give yourself the best opportunity every chance you can. So you can upload a background photo. Now, if you are like me and you're not super creative and you're like, I don't really know what I want to put in my background, LinkedIn finally added their own background photos for you. So I'm going to show you how to get there. You just click on your me icon here, click on view profile, click on this pencil, and you click on change photos. So it is about 4 clicks, but once you get there, you'll notice that you can upload a custom image, which you can just, by the way, Google. You can Google background photos and you can put a cool background photo. A lot of students put a background photo for the school that they go to, which I think is a great idea. You can use one of these, or if you want to show that you're an ally to the Black Lives Matter movement or to the LGBTQ community, you can use our off-the-shelf background photos. So now you really don't have an excuse not to have a background photo, because we give you several from which to choose. The next thing I want to talk about here is I want to talk about the headline. So this, in my opinion, should be more aspirational. Most people use this real estate as a place for, say, I'm currently going to this school and this is where I'm working. but that's actually right here. It's super redundant. So when I think of this as an opportunity for you to kind of hit a point to the person looking at your profile as who you are as a person, this is a great place for you to offer that up in a headline form. You know, you have resources on campus that can help you with these things too, by the way, right? So this is where you can maybe reach out to career services, reach out to your advisor and go, hey, this is what I'm thinking about putting on my LinkedIn profile and get feedback. I'm sure they'd be willing to help. Now, I'm going to focus on the about section for a few minutes here, because this is really where the rubber hits the road in curating your professional brand, your personal and your professional brand in one nice spot. I think about this as an opportunity for you to tell your little elevator pitch to anybody who's willing to listen. Who are you as a person? Where do you want to go in your career? What made you you, right? Your life is not necessarily just about your business experiences, it's about your life experiences. If you take a look at Bridget here, she starts out with a quote by Jack Nicklaus. It says, complacency is a continuous struggle that we all have to fight. I love that line because I think all of us have fought that battle at one time or another, being complacent. And she talks about being complacent in her life and lost in her career, and in overcoming that, right? Being tired of being stuck in one place, telling a story for somebody. What I want you to know, and this again, this is my opinion, not fact, but this is my opinion. When you are doing your resume and you're doing your cover letter, those are formats and those are things that you need to do in order to apply to most jobs. But they really are putting you into a literal rectangle, right? You have to do it a certain format, and you're not really going to be telling your story in those. And so a lot of people are dropping in keywords, and a lot of people on LinkedIn try to do keyword, like just drop in so many keywords, and it's not really authentic. And so what I want you to think about is trying to use your authentic voice on LinkedIn, because you can. And the more authentic you are, the more compelling your story is, and the more likely somebody will reach out to you. Because here's what I know. I know that I can train anybody on how to use Microsoft Office. Like, you could train people on Microsoft Office, but can you train somebody to be resilient? I don't think so, right? Can you train somebody to have a positive attitude or to have the right corporate culture? Probably not. So this is what I think you can, what I think of with the about section, is being able to tell your story, because your story is compelling. I'm just telling you right that your story is compelling. Are you working your way through college? Are you, did you play competitive athletics all going up through high school? And did that teach you anything? Did you perform with musical instruments or singing or dancing? What did that teach you? Because all of that stuff that you've done gives you skills that are marketable in any job. So I got a question in the chat. Is it easy for recruiters to weed out superficial and hollow LinkedIn profiles? I don't think it's easy for them to weed them out. I do think it's easy for them to spot them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have any algorithm that's like, oh, this person is more authentic than the next. That's not something we have in the tool. But I do think, speaking with recruiters that I know, that they can quickly and easily, when they call it keyword vomiting, like they can easily and quickly see when people are just doing keyword vomits. And they're like, okay, all right, I get that you're trying to drop in as many keywords as possible. So in that case, yes. Now, one other thing about the section here, this featured section is completely underutilized by most people. And this is where, as a student, you have an opportunity to show your work. You can upload, if you are comfortable enough, you can record a video of yourself and be like, here's who I am and here's where I want to go with my career, right? I'm super excited and this is what I want to do with my career. Create a video, put it on LinkedIn. Very few people do that, and it would blow recruiters away. If you've been given any awards or any accomplishments, you can actually write a post about that on LinkedIn, put it on your featured section. If you're a graphic designer or you're a marketing student, you want to put a marketing project, your projects, create a portfolio project, or put your portfolio projects on LinkedIn, you can do that within the featured section and within the profile itself. I'll show you another good example here. Tammy is another good example of a student. Check out her profile picture, her background photo. She says she's a student aiming to tell stories through technology. Again, I love that. Let's look at hers. She says, when I was 7, Harry Potter taught me English when I first immigrated to the Bay Area. She says, as a passionate learner, I jumped straight into teaching myself English and became obsessed with the way stories are told and how they connect people from all backgrounds. I love this. First of all, I love the fact that she embraces the fact that she's an immigrant. She learned English at a young age, overcoming adversity, right? These are all things I'm telling you that are like, you know, you can say that you've overcome adversity, or you can show that you've overcome adversity. You see what I'm saying? And that's what all of us have done. All of us have overcome adversity in one way or another. And so being able to share that story, I think, is super important. In Tammy's featured section, she's done exactly what I've talked about here, where she's actually embedded some of her marketing projects. These are her marketing projects. Now, I ask you, if you are a hiring manager and you're a recruiter looking at hundreds and hundreds of applications, and you see somebody who has a basic LinkedIn profile that's basically their resume, and you see Tammy's LinkedIn profile or Bridget's, who are you more likely going to interview? Who are you more likely going to interview? And that's the deal. All I want for everybody on this call is to have more opportunity, and the opportunity to literally at your fingertips. All of this stuff I'm showing you, you can do on your phone. Giving yourself the best opportunity. I have a daughter who's your age, but she's a junior, sophomore in college. I understand that you all are working very hard, studying really hard, and doing a lot of work. And I'm sitting here telling you, you got to do more. Well, at the end of the day, you have to do more. But I also have a question for you. How many of you are on TikTok at least for 35 or 40 minutes a day? Be honest here too. I don't have you all on my screen, but I bet you a lot of you are. And I blame my daughter squarely for me being on TikTok, by the way. This is not my fault. It's her fault for sending me all those cool TikTok videos. Somebody said 0%. You are a better person than I am, because I do more than that. But hey, maybe not TikTok, maybe it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it is YouTube. Let's just be real with all the social media platforms out there that are wasting your time, okay? TikTok is just one example. My point with all of this is that if you are spending time on these other social media platforms that are not doing anything but wasting your time, you can carve out 5 minutes or 10 minutes of that time and put it on LinkedIn, just 5 or 10 minutes. And it will help you get where you want to go in your career. It will also allow you to be able to market yourself, right? And be able to advocate for yourself. My question to you is, if you're not going to advocate for yourself, who is going to advocate for you? And that's what LinkedIn is about. It's being able to advocate for yourself, being able to show all the work that you've done and where you've come from and where you want to go in your career, instead of just being like, here's my resume. That's it. Okay. A couple of other profiles I'll show you real quickly. I just want to show you just a couple of different ones so you can kind of get an idea on what profiles look like. Here's Lou Gill. She's a current student at San Francisco State. Her profile picture and her background photo. I love this as she talks about women empowerment. That's her thing right here. Her about section, she says she believes she could, so she did, is what her mom always told her when she was going through a rough patch. And she talks about working full-time to help her family, going to community college part-time, wanting to finish and get her college degree, and having to work extremely hard, apply to all these different colleges to get where she wants to go. Like, that is a really powerful story of perseverance and overcoming adversity. Wouldn't you agree? Like, these are really powerful things to say, and all of us have gone through that. I did have a question about how often should we update our profiles. Quite frankly, you don't need to update them very often. It's like, how often do you update your resume? You only update your profile. Once you've done this about section, and your experience, you don't need to update it really that often at all until you get a new role. My about section has been the same for years. I don't need to change it. So that's the beauty of this. If you spend maybe a couple of hours tops thinking about how you want people to perceive you, then you're done. You're good to go. I want to show you one more thing. I want to show Allie. Allie is a current student as well. And I want to show you one of the things about her profile that I think is important. And that is that a lot of younger people will ask me, if I'm a hostess or a barista or a server, that's not what I want to do with my career. And how do I put that on LinkedIn? Or if that's the only job I have, how do I articulate that? And my thing is that you can tell it in the form of a narrative, of a story, because again, this is not a resume in my opinion. So let's take a look at what Allie put as her role as a hostess. She says, working as a hostess taught me an unparalleled amount of customer service and communication skills. It especially helped me learning how to read people in situations, which has been a useful tool in knowing how to best approach someone. Effective communication was an essential part of Hannah's success, and the training I received has continued to prove beneficial, especially when working in teams. Now, just for the record, every company is looking for people who can communicate. Every company is looking for somebody who can work in teams, right? If you're a server, you definitely know how to communicate. You definitely know how to deal with difficult people. Trust me, I know people who are very difficult to deal with when they order food, right? Mm-hmm. All of this is what I'm telling you with these jobs is, instead of putting in a resume where it's like, I didn't have a lot of responsibility as a server. Yes, but you learned a lot. And so that's really what I want you to think of with all of your work sections. You can also do this with your volunteer experience. So if you're part of a club on campus, let's say you are part of she's the vice president of marketing for the Women's Leadership Board. Well, that is not a job, but this is a role and a responsibility. So she has it under her experience section. She talks about the volunteer organization, what it's about, so that the reader knows what it's about, and then what she's learned from being in that position. This is the beauty of LinkedIn, is that you have the ability to really elaborate on your experiences and not think of it just this literal term of, I had a job and I got paid for it. So that everybody that's, of the age, you have experiences that you can talk about. Okay, does anybody have any questions before I move on? I'm looking through the chat right now to see if I have anything. It doesn't look like there are any chat. Okay, for first year students, how much high school experience can they list? Ooh, that's a really good question, Esmeralda. And I think you can list a good amount of high school experience. It really depends on what you want to do. I think at the end of the day, it's your profile. I don't think anybody's going to judge you for having your high school experience in there. I normally don't show this profile, but I'm going to show you my daughter's profile because she's a younger person. You can see she's a Disney fanatic, so she's got a Disney background photo. But look at what she's done with hers, and she still has her high school experience. So she's got her student mentor, her National Honor Society, and then she's got her honors and awards and her accomplishments in high school. So if I'm you, I'm putting all of this stuff in here, and I'm taking it out whenever I feel comfortable taking it out, because I'm sure that you've done a lot of stuff. You've been part of organizations on campus. You put that in here, so you can see how it's relating to her high school. This is all high school stuff: club harmony, girls softball, tennis, orchestra, all high school stuff. So I would put it in there until you feel like you've got enough external experience where you can drop that off. But truth be told, most of this, here's the deal. Very few recruiters and hiring managers are going to go line by line through your profile. They're not. Nobody does. Nobody goes line by line through your resume. They don't have time. But remember, LinkedIn is a fully searchable database. Every word that you put on LinkedIn can be searched. So you might inadvertently put a keyword in one of your experiences from high school that will populate up in a search. Okay, do you have a flyer handout with tips on setting up the profile? Christina, actually, we do have this, we do have something, and I'll show you here. So we have a social impact team, and this is a team that is all about trying to help, improve social impact. It's really for veterans and underrepresented, and also for students. So I'm going to drop this in the chat right here, and it's more than just a handout, to be honest with you. It's an actual complete PDF. So it goes into great detail with what I'm talking about here, but it gives you tons and tons of tips. So this is under the social impact. So I just dropped this into the chat right now so everybody can have access to this. So go to the social impact if you want some more information about what I talked about, and it gives you a lot more info on that. Yeah, really good question. For someone who's older, how far back do you want to go in your work experience? So this one, I feel like, again, it's totally up to you. I feel like all of your work experience is what is shaped you and molded you to who you are now. So I would include all of it. And again, once you get to a certain point, you have to click on see more in order to see more. So it's not like it's this long list of work experience. So again, I would include it in there. because you never know when that experience is going to help you be found by a recruiter. I just don't think it's a negative. And if you are changing your, the direction you're going in your career, then I think you tackle that head on in your about section, so that because that's going to be asked of you anyway, right? If you're doing a career change, you're going to get asked that in an interview. So being able to think about that ahead of time and putting that in your about section, you're like, here's where I'm going, here's what I want to do with my career, here's why I'm making a change. Really being able to articulate that, I think, is super important. Sorry, take a quick drink there. Does LinkedIn have a dark mode option? I think we do. On our mobile device, I'm not quite sure. I thought we were working on that, so I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check on that. Okay, Heather asked, do you friend people on the platform? How are you found by industry? That is a great segue. I'm going into that right now. I will cover all of that right now. So thanks for getting ahead of that one for me. Cool. So we don't call them friends, we call them connections. And so the connections are found a couple of different ways. One of the things that you're going to want to do is, in my opinion, is start with your alumni, right? So in this case, right, if we want to go to Santa Monica College, I'm sure all of the career counselors know this page and are intimately familiar with this page. But as students, you may not. This is designed to, remember I kind of was mentioning how you level the playing field. This is about leveling the playing field, where you have the ability to connect with anybody that's gone to your school at any time. We have 67,000 people on LinkedIn that say they have gone to Santa Monica College. That means that you have the ability to have a commonality with them. And when you have a commonality with somebody, they're more likely to accept your connection request. So when you're thinking about friending someone or adding someone as a friend or a connection, this is one of the best ways to do it. So I'll show you how this works. So you're going to go click on the alumni tab right here, and it's going to pull up all of the alumni, 67,000 people. We tell you where they live, we tell you where they work, we tell you what they do and what they studied, all this good stuff. But even more than that, we allow you to search by keyword, search by year, search by where they work, and look at all these great companies. You got UCLA Health, Amazon, Apple. A lot of people are self-employed. Wow, that's awesome. USC. So real time, I would love somebody to drop in the chat a company you would love to work for. Let's see if they have an alumni at your college. So somebody, Crunchyroll, is that real, Vincent? I'm not convinced on that one. Disney is definitely going to be on here. It's got to be one of the top. So I'm gonna try Crunchyroll because I just want to see if this is real. Here we go. Crunchyroll. Of course, nobody. Vincent, you're throwing me a curveball. I see how it is. I see how it is. So let's go. I'm going to actually come back to Crunchyroll because I'm going to show you how you can connect with them. Let's go to Disney. So we'll go to the Walt Disney Company. And we've got 47 alumni that are at Disney. And what you can do is you can scroll down here to the bottom and you can actually connect with them and you can add a note. How cool is that? So you can actually, here's what I would do. First of all, you definitely need to add a note because they don't know who you are. So you're going to want to add a quick note, and it should be really short and sweet. In my opinion, it should say, I am a current student at Santa Monica College. Why are you connecting? I would love to know what life is like at Disney. It's been my dream job. Do you have 10 minutes for an informational interview? Connect, right? Even if you don't want to do an informational interview, it's like, whatever you want to say. I'm just looking to grow my network with people that are doing the kind of job I want to do. And you can do this on your phone really easily, and you can connect with 3 or 4 people a day. You can throw it out there, 3 or 4 people a day, and that's it. And if you think about that, 5 to 10 minutes on LinkedIn, that's growing your network and giving you opportunity. Because remember what I said, 70% of jobs are found through a network. If you have a first-degree connection, the job at which you apply, just a first-degree connection, you're twice as likely to get that job. So if you're interested in, let's say, working at Lucasfilm, somebody else dropped that in there. So let's check out Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm, boom. Nobody's at Lucasfilm. So I'm 0 for 2. Let's see what 1 for 3 here for you all. That's really rare. So what we can do over here is we can go to Crunchyroll right here, and we can go to the company page. So remember I said we've got, 115,000 school pages, we've got 50 million company pages. At the company page, we do the same thing. So there are only 558 employees, but you click on this people tab, and guess what? Now you can connect with any one of these people. And let's say you're interested in connecting with people that are only in greater Los Angeles area. And maybe you're just looking for people that are in art and design or media and communication, because that's what you want to do. Now you can narrow that down and you can connect with any one of these people that you want to. She's the head of the studio, so that one might be tough to connect with. But the bottom line is you can connect and add a note to any one of these people. I mean, you see how easy that is? This is like totally leveling the playing field, because it doesn't matter if it's Lucasfilm and you have no alumni. There are tons of people that work at Lucasfilm and you can reach out to them. I'm a current student. This is why I'm reaching out. I'm a current student. I've always wanted to work in that industry, or I saw some of your work. Do you mind being part of my network? Doing 5 of those a day, even if only 1 or 2 people respond to you, which by the way, you're not going to have everybody say yes, because a lot of people they're on LinkedIn, but they're not active on LinkedIn. So you get a lot of people that are never going to even see your connection request. So you got to really just keep on putting yourself out there, but you're not losing anything. There's no downside to doing connection requests, none. If they don't connect, they don't connect. But if they do, they do. And then if they actually maybe offer to do an informational interview, now you've got somebody that you've got a foot in the door where you can find out a little bit more about that company and grow your network and grow it very quickly and easily. I got a quick question. What if we're entirely qualified or smart? I'm not really understanding the question on that one. What if we're not entirely qualified? The deal is that, I want you to think of, when you're connecting with people, it doesn't really matter where you're coming from. You're just trying to learn, right? If you're taking this as a learning opportunity, then people are going to be willing to help you and talk to you, right? I get students reaching out to me from time to time that want to know about what it's like to work at LinkedIn, and they may not be qualified to work at LinkedIn yet, but when they talk to me, they can understand what we're looking for and maybe start going down that path to get prepared to work at LinkedIn. So, I would try not to think of like, I just need to connect with people where I am qualified. Try to connect with people and grow your network no matter what. And by doing that on a regular basis, you are going to become more qualified. And I wouldn't worry about, I think being smart, I don't want you to think of that as a pejorative, or as like something you need to be you have to have a certain mental acumen. Be yourself. Trust me, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I work at LinkedIn. I'm in sales. Pro tip, if you want to get into technology companies like LinkedIn, sales is the easiest way. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So just believe in yourself and you got this. Is it considered okay to connect with professors within your major? Yeah, Jacqueline, I think so, for sure. I'd love to hear from some of the professors on the call and get their feedback on that one for sure, if anybody wants to volunteer, since I'm not a professor. All right, our followers you did not connect with back with you. So that's a good question, Guadalupe. So there's a difference between following and connecting. So following, think of that as like on other social media platforms where it's a one-way street, right? I follow an Instagram influencer, they don't follow me back. I get to see their content, they don't see any of my content. That's exactly how following works on LinkedIn. You follow them and you get to see their content, but you cannot communicate with them. You can't message them. When you connect with them, now they are following you and you're following them. You can message them and they can message you. It's way different than other social media platforms where you can message anybody on Instagram and TikTok to your heart's content. You don't have to be, you can just, as long as you follow them and they have an open profile, you can message them. You can't do that on LinkedIn. We don't allow you to message people you're not connected to. Yeah, that's a really good question. All right. One thing I just want to circle back to, the question about, who you should connect with and what are you qualified enough? Having a willingness to learn new things is super important, right? LinkedIn has this idea where when we're hiring people, we look for people that have a sense of humor, right? Are willing to learn new things, and we get stuff done. Like that's what we are, right? Do you dream big? Do you have fun? And do you get stuff done? And so I think when you talk to people, even if you're not super qualified, you can get an idea of what is their corporate culture? Do I even want to work there, right? Things like that. So that's really what I'm talking about. Being able to just groom yourself and learn from others that are in the industry. That's really, really important. Somebody asked me a question about the skills assessment. This is a brand new thing on the platform where you actually can assess your skills. And I completely forgot where this is, to be honest with you. I saw it the other day. And basically what the skills assessment is, we have a skill path beta. Wow, this is cool too. So what we're trying to do at LinkedIn is we're trying to take all of our data to help you. And what I mean by that is that with the 15 million jobs, 700 some odd million members, we have a good idea of what skills are required to get a certain job. If you want to be a salesperson at a tech company, we know what skills you need. And so the skills assessment is designed for you to be able to go onto LinkedIn, take a test, and be able to see what skills you're missing in order to get the proper skills to be the most qualified for a job. And it also, if you have all those skills, it allows hiring managers and employers to go, okay, Kelson actually passed this skills assessment, so you have a better shot at getting that role. So that's really what the skills assessment is all about, and I cannot remember for the life of me where that is right now, so I'll have to do some research on that. Okay, so one thing I want to share with you real quickly is I want to share with you a success story. So this is Michael. Michael is a current student at Cal State Fullerton, but I met him when he was going to Saddleback down the street here. I live in Orange County, and he was going to Saddleback. I did this workshop at Saddleback in 2018 for his accounting society. He was part of the accounting society, and I did it again in 2019. And he came up to me and he's like, I want to tell you my story. And so he shared with me his story, which I will never forget. And he's graciously allowed me to tell it to all of you. He said, when I was here last year, I had a LinkedIn profile, but I didn't know what to do with it. And I only had 2 people in my network. He's like, when I left your workshop, I made it my mission to grow my network, just doing what I was telling, what I told him to do, what I'm telling you to do. And he's like, it took me 3 months to go from 2 people to over 500 people in my network. And he's like, the coolest thing happened though, right around a month later, after he got to 500 people, this company called Cengage reached out to him, recruited him, said, hey, we like your profile. Would you mind applying for a paid campus ambassador position? He got the role, and he's got a guaranteed job with them when he graduates with his bachelor's degree. How cool is that? All he did was grow his network. That was it. So it can be done. It is not hard to do. You just have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and just start doing it. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be with it, and the more success you'll have with it. So that's the beauty of this. I got a good question in the chat. Does it negatively affect recruitment opportunities if you do not utilize the professional skills endorsement section? So there are 2 questions here. So I'm going to go to my profile here real quickly. The best practice is to have a minimum of 5 skills. Oh, here's the skill quiz. Of 5 skills, minimum of 5 skills, because it will negatively impact you if you don't have any on there, because recruiters use this as a tool, or one of the things they're looking for is they'll put that you are required to have XYZ skill, and so they'll put it in the search filter. So if you don't have 5 skills or more, it's going to hurt you. So you definitely want to put as many skills as possible: communication, Microsoft Excel, whatever it is. The endorsements aren't quite as important. I wouldn't worry about endorsements. It's nice to have endorsements, not very heavy. It does not give it a lot of weight, but the recommendations are great. So if you get recommendations for people, that is nice to have, for sure, for sure. Small businesses are using LinkedIn as those with Fortune 500 companies. Yes and no. I mean, no, probably not. But at the end of the day, it depends on the type of company. And truth be told, LinkedIn is right now, we have more people using the platform and more businesses realize that LinkedIn is a place for business than any place else. So you can create a company page on LinkedIn for free with it as a small business. You can take advantage of a lot of stuff on LinkedIn for free. And then our LinkedIn marketing, our advertising solution is killing it now. So to answer your question, if they're not, they're rapidly starting to use it as much as larger companies are, for sure. What if you have the practical skills but don't know the term in the skill quiz? That's a good question. I think the idea with the skill quiz is it's a barometer for you, and you can take it over again. So I mean, it's just a good idea. It's just a tool, and I would use the tool to help yourself, improve yourself. It's not going to be a make or break for you, for sure. It's definitely not going to be a make or break for you, but just kind of take a look at that skills assessment and see where you stand. Yeah, the question was, how do you ask your network to get a recommendation for you? And so basically what you can do is you can go to, let's just say I'm going to go to Vanessa. So Vanessa is a mentee of mine. And what you can do is you can click on more, and then you can click on request a recommendation. So that's how easy it is to do. So if you want somebody to give you a recommendation, you got to be a first degree connection with them. Click on more and click on request a recommendation. That's a really, really great question. Nobody's ever asked me that one before. I probably should add that into my workshop. Let me tell you about Vanessa real quick. I bring her up because she is a former college student at Cal State Long Beach, and she got her job out of college at NYX Professional Makeup and also at Blizzard through LinkedIn. Not necessarily because she, LinkedIn like gave her the job, but she had a network. Remember, I talked about first degree connections, and she had a first degree connection at both of those companies where she actually connected with somebody there. And then when she got the interview, she asked them, could you give me some heads up? Like, what kind of things should I know about the interview process? And they helped walk her through the interview process, and she crushed it at both interviews. So that's another way that you can actually have your network help you when you grow your network. So super, super important. Where's the best place to go if you need support in setting up a LinkedIn page? I would say that your career services. I would say that use the tools that you've got at your disposal on campus. There's a lot of support on campus for you. Our social impact page is there as well. We do have a tool called LinkedIn Learning that normally you have to pay for, but LinkedIn Learning has a free video tutorial. It's a free course on how do you create a LinkedIn profile for a student. So go on to LinkedIn Learning and you can do that as well. And that's another good place to do. I was asked about reaching out to me afterwards, and you all are more than reach out to me. I normally do this, and I'm going to just drop my name in the chat right now in the feed. So feel free to connect with me. Make sure I'm going to do this to everybody. Hang on a second. I'm going to drop my name in the chat, and you all are more than welcome to connect with me, and you can DM me at any time. I'll do my best to get back to you very quickly. Let's see, if you're starting out your own blog. So the idea of having multiple profiles, we kind of frown against having multiple profiles, but you can. Here's what I would recommend. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, or you're kind of creating a company, or doing something like that, you can create a company page really easily. So within your profile, this is my home profile screen, click on the work tab, and then go on to create a company page. You can create a company page for free. That's probably the best thing to do if you're trying to do some additional work, or you're kind of having your own gig. But especially if you are, if you're going that direction, I don't recommend multiple profiles. It just doesn't really, it's not really the best use, because you have different, you're going to have different people in your network, and then maybe the same person in two different profiles. So we really don't recommend having multiple profiles. The other thing you could do is you could start a group page and maybe loop people into your group. And if you want to have kind of it separated that way, you can do that as well. That's what I would do if I were you. It looks like the library might be able to help connect you with LinkedIn Learning. That's true. I think the library has access to LinkedIn Learning. Would I recommend Indeed and Glassdoor? Yes. I don't, listen, I'm not saying that LinkedIn is the be all end all. It's not the be all end all. You've got to use every tool that's available out there for you. I just think LinkedIn is really important and should be a place that you go on a daily basis. And the beauty about LinkedIn is it's not like Indeed where it's just all applications, where you can actually post content. You can actually connect with people. Like it's more social media. So it's, I think, less, maybe emotionally draining than some of these other ones. But I think you need to use every tool at your disposal for sure. Yeah, for sure. All right. So it looks like there's drop-in career assistance for sure. It looks like they were putting some information in there for drop-in career assistance. I'm sure there's a ton of assistance for you on campus that can help you with some of the stuff I'm talking about. All right, the last thing I want to talk about real quickly for the last few minutes is how to start a post, why you should start a post. So here's the deal. When you're in the middle of your feed, you can click on start a post and you can just put whatever you're interested in. So you can write some information, you can add a video, you can add a picture, you can even upload a downloadable document if you want to share that. You can find an expert. So if you're looking to try to find somebody to help you with coaching and mentoring, you can actually just reach out to coaching and mentoring, let's say career development coaching, and put it out on LinkedIn. That's something you can do. Now, let me show you an example, a couple of examples of students that have posted content. So I'm going to show you this post from a student that I shared the other day. And so the easiest thing to do is share other people's content. What I mean by that is that, like in this case, Madison wrote this really great article on 5 reasons you need to be posting content on LinkedIn. She's a current student right now as well. And this is really great information. In fact, I'm just going to drop this in the chat so everybody can have a link to it. And you should read this. It's really, really a quick read. But she talks about 5 reasons you should post your own content. 1 is building your brand. 1 is your stack ranking on Google. It shows that you've read industry news, contributing to industry. She talks about different types of content. So you can post insights from a lecture. You all are doing critical thinking right now. You can take some of that critical thinking and put it right on LinkedIn. It takes you 2 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. Let me show you an example of sharing other people's content. This is Madison's post. I clicked on the share button and I just added a little bit of information up here. I tagged her in it because just like any social media, you can tag people and you can use hashtags, right? And I just posted on my page and I got 2,100 views. 2,100 views of this. It's not even my content, and it took me like 20 seconds to put it on LinkedIn. When you grow your network, how do you make your network work for you? You make your network work for you by being able to share content. And when you share content, people have a chance to click on your profile and get to know you. That is the beauty of LinkedIn. When you share content, it starts really transforming the experience that you have on LinkedIn. Now, it is a little bit scary. So, start out with baby steps. Start out with, commenting, just thinking about how you want to comment on people's posts, or liking, but really commenting is harder to do than like. And then sharing some people's posts. And then eventually you're going to feel more comfortable to actually click on this start my own post and start your own post. Things that you can post about, like if you've been able to get an internship, post about that on LinkedIn. There are tons of students that are posting about the internships that they've been able to get. Here's in my notifications here. This is a student that I knew or know who went to Cal State Long Beach, and she graduated. I think she graduated in December, and she got her job at Mediacom. And this is one of the posts that she put. So she just accepted a full-time role at Mediacom, and she put this on LinkedIn. You can talk about this with your internship as well. She's got 102 people that looked at this with 24 comments. It's just really spreading out her brand across LinkedIn and giving her more opportunity. I just got one. Let me just take a look at this. It looks like here's a student at SMC that shares regularly. So this is a good example of somebody who shares regularly on LinkedIn, which is great. Just Content is really the biggest thing, and it's not easy to do. Don't get me wrong. It's not an easy thing to actually start posting content. But at the end of the day, just like any other social media platform, anything that you do, when you start practicing it, you'll see what other people are posting, and then you will understand that. Now, I got a question about how do you share and tag a person in content. So I'll show you how to do that. Let's say I want to share Carrie's post right here. I click on share. It pulls up this screen, and I can start typing whatever I want to type out. So I'll want to actually put some information in there as to why I'm sharing. So, whatever I want to say. I just read this and think you might like, whatever I want to say. And then let's see, I'm going to say, I want Thomas, I want you to take a look at it. What do you think? So when you say at, then you can start typing anybody's name, and you can text, and you can tag them. When it's in bold, it means it's tagged that person, and then it's going to go in their notifications. You can also delete their last name, and it still will tag the correct person. And then you can do hashtags. Just do a hashtag like you would on any other social media. So let's say, LinkedIn tips, whatever. And so you can throw in 3 hashtags. All this does is it just spreads this, makes this more aware, raises the awareness of your post on LinkedIn. So it gives it more opportunity for people to see it. That's the difference with posting content and sharing content, and how it helps you. So one other thing I wanted to show you real quickly is I wanted to show you another example of using your network and some other examples of student success. So let me share with you Ariana. Ariana is a current student at San Diego State. She's at San Diego State right now. She's first generation from her family to go to school. She's part of the Hispanic Student Business Association. And I met her a few years ago. She wasn't using LinkedIn a lot. We talked about, using LinkedIn, putting yourself out there. She actually wrote this blog about period poverty, which I never even really heard of period poverty. This is really an interesting blog post by her, but she put herself out there on LinkedIn. I'm not talking about putting one post a day from her own content. She posted once every other week. When you're posting once every other week your own content, you're doing more than most people. But she was liking and commenting on a lot of people's posts and sharing other people's posts. But she did a lot on LinkedIn. And the reason I bring this up is because when she went to apply for this job at Super Purposes is a tech company. It's a small tech company. She didn't just apply for the job. She actually went to the company page, found the CEO, and did a connection request to the CEO of the company, and said did a connection request and did a customized connection request. And she said, "Hi, my name's Ariana. I'm a current student. I just applied for your internship, and I would love an opportunity to apply." About 2 hours later, the CEO accepted her connection request, and then actually messaged her back and said, "No student has ever done that. I'm going to get you an interview with my company next week." She got the interview, nailed the interview, got the job. The hiring manager said, "Normally you have to do 3 interviews, but my CEO is so impressed with you and your LinkedIn profile, she wanted me to offer you the job on the spot." That is what you can do with LinkedIn. By putting yourself out there, by growing your network, by showing that you're a hard worker, not just saying that you're a hard worker, by showing your work experience, putting yourself out there, that's what LinkedIn allows you to do. And it's a two-way street, right? You get to see what other people do. It's true social media, where it's not just you doing it. You're part of a society, a part of a network that's all doing the same thing. And so when people see what you're doing, it gives you more opportunity. Now, I did get a question. Is it a good idea to ask contact a recruiter directly? Listen, recruiters get hit up hundreds and hundreds of times. They get hit up all the time. You can give it a shot, but more than likely, it's not going to work out because they just are overwhelmed. I can't even talk to recruiters internally at my organization. They're just too busy. So I wouldn't hang my hat on that one, but I wouldn't not try. I think it's a good idea, but I would just temper your expectations. Okay, that is it. I flew through that. Do you all have any additional questions for me as we wrap up?
We have 2 minutes left, so this is your moment. And Ryan was gracious enough to share his contact information in the chat. If you didn't grab it, definitely grab it. We also put in here where we will be posting the video if you want to, because there was so much great information. Like, thank you so much, Ryan. Like, I feel like I'm even learning so much. It's really incredible. And, you know, just to go back through the video again and pick up some of the things that you missed. So we will definitely have that up on the Career Services YouTube page. I did see there was
Awesome.
one more question. If you are able to take one more.
Yeah, I saw it. Was that the one about LinkedIn Premium?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Premium is designed for people with at least 5 years of work experience. I do not think you need premium. Everything I showed you today is free. And I would think you don't need it. Now, if you want to cheat the system, you can do what my wife did and sign up for a 30-day trial and cancel at 29 days. And you get all kinds of goodness for 29 days. You see if it's worth your money. Do not sign up for the 1 year period. Don't do that. I just don't think you're going to need it for that long, and it's expensive. It's like $60 a month. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ryan. We're like really lucky to have you here with us today. And thanks to all the students who came and all the great questions that you asked too. And like I said, you can reach out to Career Services if you have any additional questions. We're here to help you. And again, thank you.
Absolutely. Feel free to connect with me. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.